All I can say is that the fake news just doesn't get it, do they?
But the fake news is crazy about Amazon. Hey, I order stuff from there all the time, maybe too much. Amazon has come up with some really, I think, surreal guidelines on how to submit content to them. Everybody wants to make a movie, TV show. Hollywood is full of them, but you probably know somebody who wants to do this. Submit a script to Amazon, get it made into a TV show, make $1 million. Sounds great. But here are the standards that Amazon is preaching. You ready? We expect creative teams to make a concerted effort to hire above-the-line staff, directors, writers, producers, and/or creators who represent the identity groups depicted on screen. We will aim for 30% of the above-the-line staff to meet this goal in 2021. This aspirational goal will increase to 50% by 2024. All right, so the behind-the-scenes people have to look like the characters on screen. This sounds like a recipe for segregation. It sounds like a recipe for something not good. One of my favorite movies of all time happens to be The Godfather. You ever seen it? Oh, by the way, I don't think they meant anything by this, but it's all white people in the movie. Does that mean only white people should be or should have been behind the scenes? Of course not. I don't like this kind of stuff. Next from Amazon. Are LGBTQ plus characters in overly feminized or masculine occupations? For example, are gay characters shown in appearance-related professions, fashion, entertainment, etc.? Are they excluded from occupations in education, healthcare, or civil service, including police or fire department? See, that's bad if you don't have a gay person as a firefighter. Look, they should really stay out of it. Let the storytellers tell the story. They want the virtue signaling in the story. That's bad. They're actually, I think, trying to influence reality, and we're not there yet. Does that make sense? Take a look at this, and you tell me. Let me know via our website. Are there specific opportunities to include LGBTQ plus romantic partners in the story? Even if you are not able to depict the romantic partner, could your characters refer to their relational partners in the script? It's getting complicated and getting weird. Just throw in some gay couples for the sake of it. What if it's my life story or your life story? Maybe you have that, maybe you don't. Maybe I have it, maybe I don't. Why are they doing this? Why are they pushing this? Next, please, if you don't mind. Are there opportunities to show underrepresented groups, including non-binary people, people of different religions, and people with disabilities in romantic relationships that counter typical narratives? I don't know. You see, this is kind of ridiculous. Again, let the writers write. One more that I think is very insulting, very insulting. We urge content creators focusing on comedy, humor, or satire to engage with their material in deep ways. Ask the fundamental question, are you the right person to tell this story and/or these jokes? Here's the deal. Here's the message. If you are a white male, stay out of the content creating business when it comes to Amazon, which is one of the #1 content providers now in the universe. Be sure that your character descriptions do not evoke stereotypes related to women of color. Avoid use of the terms exotic, feisty, sassy, and other words stereotypically used to refer to underrepresented women. Amazon, maybe this is your problem. I mean, we don't have this problem. And what are they saying? Let me show you some of my favorite people. One I've met, one I haven't met. Iman. Have you ever heard of her? Great model from Somalia. There she is on the right. She was married to David Bowie. She strikes me as exotic. I've been a fan since I was a kid. That's Wendy Williams on the left. I've introduced Wendy on TV, on stage. I know her in real life, and she's a sassy person. Have I just made some sort of mistake? Have I violated some weird code by using that word? I don't think so. That's an ordinary, wholesome thing to say about an extraordinary person, right? I hope you agree. I'm kind of out on a limb here. I'm getting some weird looks, but do you want to live your life by these kinds of guidelines? Amazon is more important than half the governments in the world, and they're trying to change the way we think. All right. I also want to show you, you've heard so much about the threat from white supremacists. The FBI says it's the #1 threat in the country. That's not my experience. I have not seen that, but I have seen a lot of this, the threat from the left.
As a white man who has had privileges that others could not depend on or take for granted, I've clearly had advantages over the course of my life.
I'm increasingly embarrassed to be a white male these days, and light of what I see of my other white males saying.
But we don't realize sometimes, especially as a white person, how impactful, how offensive they are.
As a white man who walks through life with that privilege, walk in these shoes, walk in these communities.
Where the hell am I going? And guess what? That's what happens. That's my white privilege. I own it. It's fine.
Yeah. All right. White people apologizing for being white. Now, here's the part about, well, again, you've heard about the threat from the white supremacists and white people, but the left, Antifa, they seem to be on the news more than the white supremacists, actually. They talk about them, but who do we see most of the time?
We believe
This is assault.
Kanye West is what happens when Negroes don't read.
He's the token Negro of the Trump administration.
Ma'am, do not hold the door, ma'am. You're gonna get arrested.
Are you gonna let our democracy die? Are you gonna let our democracy die?
Kill her 3-year-old child.
We're a subhuman. We're done being polite.
So, have you seen that before? Have you seen that compressed like that? I've seen so much of the replay of January 6th, but this is actually happening all over the country. Something else, you know, you have questions about the fairness of the 2020 election. I have questions about the fairness of the 2020 election. You know who else had a lot of questions about the fairness of the 2020 election before the election? Democrats.
I continue to think that our voting machines are too vulnerable.
Researchers have repeatedly demonstrated that ballot recording machines and other voting systems are susceptible to tampering.
Even hackers with limited prior knowledge, tools, and resources are able to breach voting machines in a matter of minutes.
In 2018, electronic voting machines in Georgia and Texas deleted votes for certain candidates or switched votes from one candidate to another.
The biggest seller of voting machines is doing something that violates Cybersecurity 101, directing that you install remote access software, which would make a machine like that, you know, a magnet for fraudsters and hackers.
These are Democrats, all Democrats. Pretty astounding, isn't it? And they've made this kind of speech almost illegal for the other side post-election. Got to show you this. Dr. Fauci had another skirmish with Senator Rand Paul. You know how I feel about Dr. Fauci's credibility. Zero. And Rand Paul, a physician, very smart, and he's been so passionate about COVID, and he mentioned the Wuhan lab going way back, and now it really looks that way. Check out their exchange today on Capitol Hill.
Viruses that in nature only infect animals were manipulated in the Wuhan lab to gain the function of infecting humans. Dr. Fauci, knowing that it is a crime to lie to Congress, do you wish to retract your statement of May 11th where you claimed that the NIH never funded gain-of-function research in Wuhan?
I have never lied before the Congress, and I do not retract that statement. Let me finish.
You take an animal virus and you increase its transmissibility to humans,
right.
You're saying that's not gain-of-function?
Yeah, that is correct. And Senator Paul, you do not know what you are talking about, quite frankly, and I want to say that officially.
This is your definition that you guys wrote. It says that scientific research that increases the transmissibility among animals is gain of function. They took animal viruses that only occur in animals and they increased their transmissibility to humans. How you can say that is not gain of function?
It is not.
It's a dance, and you're dancing around this because you're trying to obscure responsibility for 4 million people dying around the world from a pandemic.
If the point that you are making is that the grant that was funded as a sub-award from EcoHealth to Wuhan created SARS-CoV-2. That's where you are getting. Let me finish.
We don't know.
Well,
we don't
wait
know
a minute.
if it did come from the lab, but all the evidence is pointing that it came from the lab, and there will be responsibility for those who funded the lab, including yourself.
I totally
This committee
resent,
will allow the witness to respond.
I totally resent the lie that you are now propagating.
No one's saying those viruses caused it.
It
no
is
one is alleging that
molecularly.
those viruses caused the pandemic. What we're alleging is that gain-of-function research was going on in that lab, and NIH funded it.
That
You
is
can't
not-
get away from it. It meets your definition, and you are obfuscating the truth.
Those viruses are molecularly impossible
No one's
to
saying
result
they are. No
in
one's saying those viruses
SARS-CoV-2.
caused the pandemic.
Senator Paul,
We're saying they are gain-of-function viruses because they were
they're not.
animal viruses that became more transmissible in human, and you funded it.
And you
admit the truth.
And you
Senator
implying.
Paul, your time has expired, and I will allow witnesses who come before this committee to respond.
And you are implying that what we did was responsible for the deaths of individual. I totally resent
could
that.
have
And
been.
if anybody
could
is
have been.
lying here, Senator, it is you.
No, you, Fauci, you. He's confused Americans and I believe misled Americans long enough. Don't you? And thank you, Senator Paul. We'll be right back.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, where real news for real people.